Line 2.
Hi, I've arrived at my destination. The destination is here, McDonald's. This particular McDonald's, located on Bloor Street in Toronto. It's across the street from the Royal Ontario Museum. Nice museum. This McDonald's is the personal McDonald's of George Cohon. George Cohon is the founder of McDonald's in Canada. He passed away a couple of days ago. George Cohon is also one of my few actual heroes in Canada. The guy did an awful lot of good, really. The Santa Claus parade passed down just a couple days ago, the Santa Claus parade. Now, a while back, Santa Claus Parade used to be sponsored by, was the Eaton Santa Claus Parade, because Eaton sold a lot of toys. And when I was really small, I used to get really excited on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, I forget when the Santa Claus Parade would be, and I'd walk through our town and go to my grandmother's house, and I'd watch the Santa Claus Parade from Toronto on television. But a few years after that, maybe 20, 30 years, Eaton's department store got into some trouble, and the Santa Claus Parade was going to be canceled. They're going to cancel the Santa Claus Parade. Now, George Cohon's a modest guy. He doesn't like to take credit for stuff too much, although it might seem like he does, but really no. He heard the Santa Claus Parade was going to be canceled. It's like, well, what do you mean you're going to cancel the Santa Claus Parade? You can't possibly cancel the Santa Claus Parade. So him and a guy, I think Izzy Asper, who's the Four Seasons Hotel gentleman, they got together, largely through George, and said, we cannot have the Santa Claus Parade canceled. In the interim, however much it may cost, I will pay. Oh, Santa Claus Parade continued, and it continues to this day, and it brings great joy to the children of Toronto, and really the children of all across Canada and the world, and to Santa Claus as well. I like Santa Claus. Santa Claus is another one of my heroes. All right. Hello, outside the McDonald's on Bloor Street. I was talking about George Cohon, and now I'm going to go in and I'm going to have myself a coffee. And I'm going to talk some more about McDonald's, maybe in a few minutes or maybe later, but we'll work it all into this video, and there's a lot of really good reasons for talking about McDonald's. Hi. If you've been following my journey today, you'll know that I'm at McDonald's. I'm not just at any McDonald's, I'm at what I consider a special McDonald's, because this is the McDonald's that was the personal McDonald's of the McDonald's of Canada and the McDonald's of Russia founder, Mr. George Cohon. But he always insisted on being called George, first name. I'd like to say that I met him, but that's not true. I never met him. I've been an admirer of his since 1980s. I worked for McDonald's. That's maybe a story I'll incorporate a bit later into this video, but I was a McDonald's manager in the 80s, late 80s. I was a McDonald's manager at kind of another famous McDonald's, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But George Cohon passed away a couple of days ago. It's a loss for Canada. It's a loss for McDonald's. It's a loss for the world. George Cohon, he's I believe at the time of his death, he was the largest shareholder of McDonald's. He no longer was the owner of McDonald's of Canada, because that, in a business sense, that changed a bit. But this isn't really about the particulars of business. This is about leadership, and the tremendous leadership that George Cohon showed, both for the company McDonald's and also for our country, for Canada, for the world. And George, through tremendous perseverance, brought McDonald's to Russia in 1988. I think it was 1988, McDonald's opened the first store there. And George also, he had a book, his sort of autobiography, but he had a ghostwriter, but he made his ghostwriter the most public ghostwriter in the history of ghostwriters. And he made that book a tremendous success. And all of the proceeds from the book were given to Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities. George Cohon started Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities. And if you've ever had a child who's ill and had to have treatment at a hospital that was perhaps far from home, George Cohon and Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities provided you a place to stay and made sure that you were as comfortable as can be. And the magnitude of this generosity is difficult to express, really. It's huge. Just in Halifax, the Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, the McDonald's franchisees there have committed, I believe it's an amount greater than $10 million. I think it might be significantly greater than $10 million to constructing a new Ronald McDonald House, which is a place to stay for families while their children are experiencing illness and have to be treated from far away. And the big recipient, or in this case, the beneficiary of this Ronald McDonald's House in Halifax, Nova Scotia, is people that I know, because it's people from Cape Breton Island that travel with their children to Halifax for treatment. It's people from Prince Edward Island, from New Brunswick, from all around that travel to Halifax to have treatment with their children. And heck, I got treated at the Children's Hospital in Halifax when I was very young, and I didn't. It was cosmetic surgery. Otherwise, I wouldn't be quite as handsome as I am right now. And my mom came up with me, and she didn't stay at Ronald McDonald's House because it didn't exist at that time. This was like 1969 or 70 or something like that. It's quite a long time ago. And this was talking about George Cohon. And one thing I want to talk about in the context of one of my favorite topics, which is economics. I try to make these videos about people, about economics, and quite often about a thing. Is that one of the things that exists in our society and is allowed to exist because we have a progressive society with strong economic principles and a government that, for the most part, the democracy works fabulously, and if people are displeased with the government, then they tend to get elected a different government. But institutions, an institution is something that you can have faith in, you can rely upon. And in North America and in largely the world, something that's become an institution is McDonald's. And you can go to a McDonald's and you can have an affordable meal, you can have an affordable beverage, you can bring your children there, you can bring your family there, and you can have an affordable, nutritious meal in comfortable surroundings. And for that, I have to thank McDonald's, and largely I have to thank George Cohon. So there you are. And McDonald's was one of the institutions that helped us through the pandemic. It's an institution that helps many people through many things. And I'm proud of my fairly short career at McDonald's, but I'm proud of it. It's had a great influence upon my life. And if you know me, then you know that I always speak highly of McDonald's. Anything can improve. I say this before, but what the heck? Even McDonald's can improve. And one thing that McDonald's does, they recognize that McDonald's can improve, and they work to continually improve. And that is something that maybe we could certainly take into our life. We can recognize that we can improve, and we work to improve, and that's it. So thank you, George Cohon. My condolences to the Cohon family. My condolences to the McDonald's family. And here I am. Right now, I'm going to I'm gonna enjoy my coffee, my McCafe. Thank you. And I always enjoy my McCafe. Bye now.